All right, good morning, folks. Today we have the container video ready to go. It'll be going up this afternoon. It's ready. I want to revisit yesterday. Pay attention. I'm going to give you very just pragmatic, step-by-step information. Watch. Pay attention. Okay, y'all remember the twin system, right? The twin system is a double U. There's a good U and there's a bad U. There's a double U. That's why they like to use the V and the V and intersect them and make the letter W because they're mocking you. Remember the One World Freedom Tower that took over the Twin Towers? There's a upside down U and a right side up U. So this is the symbol for the World Trade Center. One's upside down, one's right side up, and then that's the new one world. So the right side up and the upside down paradigm have become one. So, and that's in the host body system. Okay, now pay attention. What's this whole thing been about? Okay, you know what? Let me show you this one thing here right here too. Really important. The double-headed phoenix. This is from the Catholic Church. Look right here. Okay, you got one head of a phoenix, the other head of a phoenix. The double-headed phoenix, and you have the two DNAs making, there's one DNA and another DNA, and they're joined together, and it makes an X. See right here in the middle, makes an X. And what's ruling over that? See the crown on top? The crown on top is the head of a serpent. There it is. So the serpent is ruling over the twin system, which is male and female energy. Now that one energy is consumed, the rest. Now watch this. The female energy is consuming the male energy. Now watch this. This is amazing. Okay, want to make sure you saw that first. Now, y'all know that at the end of days, there will be the GOG and the Magog. I'm going to show you just Wikipedia for those of y'all that don't know your Bible real well. This is a simple explanation. Watch. Gog and Magog in the Hebrew Bible may be individuals, peoples, lands, nations, a prophesied enemy nation of God's people according to the book of Ezekiel and according to Genesis. One of the nations descended from Japheth as son of Noah. The Gog prophecy is meant to be fulfilled at the approach of what is called the end of days. Okay, so that's just Wikipedia. If you don't know your Bible, there's a quick explanation for you. Okay, so now I'm going to drop that. I'll leave that there. Okay, here we go. Now, this is super important. What's the number one thing that the Lord God has shown the guy that's talking to you right now? I mean, there's always a common denominator that has run through this entire ministry from beginning to end. And it's just built on top of itself. I'm going to show you what that common denominator is now. Watch this. Pardon me. Okay, so here we go. Let's go to redrawn critical images. Okay, let's start with, again, the largest altar in the world is a dead sheep with its tongue sticking out. And that sheep, that window right there on the inside of the building is this window right here on the outside of the Vatican, which is the mouth of a serpent. So I'll I'll enlarge this, and I will drag this sheep right over here and put him in the mouth of the serpent. So what's the serpent doing? The serpent is eating a sheep. That's it. There's no way out of that. The inside of that window is a dead sheep, and the opening is a female reproductive system. So that is going to be our common denominator, which is super important. I didn't really understand the severity of the Google Doodle yesterday, and there is another bottom line to it besides Damascus. Watch. This is mind blowing. Okay, so we have a giant serpent right there, and what he's doing is he's eating sheep. The serpent is eating sheep. Well, let's go to the sheep folder. Okay, let's go. Okay, so there's that giant altar of a dead sheep. It's being eaten by a serpent. Here's an image of a dead sheep. It's the virgin when you turn it upside down. Those Isaiah 29:15 and 16, those who hide their plans turn everything upside down. Okay? Here's another image of a dead sheep with its tongue sticking out from the hieroglyph of Akhenaten and Nefertiti. I'll just slide it right onto there. There it is. So there is a sheep. Here's the eye. There's the ear, top of the head. Here's the eye, teardrop coming out of the eye. There's the black nose. There's the tongue in the mouth. Now here it is in the original carved on the rock. This is a clear plastic layover that I did so I can show y'all how obvious. Boom. There's a dead sheep. How did I get the dead sheep? I turned Queen Nefertiti upside down. By the way, there's also a serpent eating all the kids in that hieroglyph. So now we have a serpent eating sheep, that's the Vatican. We have a serpent that's eating a sheep, that's a hieroglyph that's 1,300 years BC. Here we have Barack Obama sticking out his tongue, which is identical to the altar of the sheep, and he's winking his eye, which is Isaiah 57 verse 4. Against whom do you sport yourself? Means who are you making fun of and sticking out your tongue? Are you not the seed of falsehood, the children of transgression and the whore? Okay, so if you're doing this to people, which I have people do to me all the time, and I mean I have people make that gesture to me more than you could even believe. If you do that to someone, you may not even know it, but that's just a sign that you're the seed of the adulterer and the whore, a seed of falsehood. Now, Obama's winking his eye, just like Miley Cyrus. They're doing the same thing because they got one eye closed and one eye open. That's the all-seeing eye. The Bible says if your eye be single, the whole body's full of light. Because everybody's eye is double until you get converted. Then your eye becomes single. Okay, so now watch. Here is a picture of Jonathan Kleck that I walked into a Starbucks and I told Chris, the manager, I'll bet you $1 million Alex draws a picture of me. And when he does, he puts an image of a dead sheep on the image. And he did exactly what I said he would do. How did I know Alex would do that? Because he would go, "Hey, Johnny, how you doing?" He would close one eye, stick his tongue out, and point at me. I know that I applied the Bible. I'm like, that's that spirit. That's that spirit that kills sheep. It's all about serpents killing sheep. Now just wait, because we're getting to yesterday's Google Doodle again. Watch. And let me give you all the data points. Okay, so there's Jonathan Kleck. Look, there's a dead sheep behind his ear. There it is, colored in yellow. Okay, and here you go. Now there's a serpent. I drew in the serpent eating the sheep. It's part of my do-rag. He hit it very cleverly right there. So now we have another serpent eating a sheep right there. Now, here's a card that my wife gave me right before she took off and totally betrayed me. I was like, the Lou Eleuthero, the girl I was with the night I got saved. She tried to pretend to be a Christian, but there was no indwelling spirit. So she just tried but couldn't do it. And I love her and I feel sorry for her, but it is what it is. So here's a sheep right here. There's a sheep's nose. There's a line in the mouth, bottom jaw, under the neck. Here's the eye of the sheep. There's the teardrop of the sheep. Here's the top of the head. Here's the ear of the sheep. So now there's a serpent right here underneath the sheep, right here upside down, look, and it's eating the sheep. Okay, so here's the card she gave me right side up. And if I rotate this if I rotate this sheep 90 degrees counterclockwise right there, I'll just put it right in the mouth of the serpent. Let's see. I'll scrunch it down a little, and there you go. Watch. Boom. There's a serpent eating the sheep. I just have the ability to see it very easily. So there's a serpent eating the sheep. I'm going to rotate this back so it doesn't stay like that. Okay, so here's a serpent eating the sheep again. Okay, so how many times have I just shown you serpent eating sheep? Repetitively. Largest altar in the world, serpent, largest church in the world, the whole church is a serpent eating sheep. A sheep, the largest altar in the world, is a dead sheep that's in the mouth of the serpent. A hieroglyph that's 1,300 years before Christ is a serpent eating a sheep of Akhenaten and Nefertiti. Right here is a guy named Jonathan Kleck that called it when he walked into Starbucks because a guy would stick out his tongue, wink his eye, and point at him. And I said he would draw a picture of me of it with a serpent with a dead sheep on my face. The serpent was a bonus. And so anyway, so there's the image of it. Here's a card my wife gave me before she took off and totally betrayed me. A serpent eating a sheep. So now we have the same common denominator 4 times already. Here's a piece of wood a guy named Marcel gave me. He drew a picture of me right here. This is up on the wall in my house. There's the original. And I'll show it to you. There it is. And there's the dead sheep. He used the knot in the wood for the water in the eye, nose, tongue. There's the snoot of the sheep. There's the ear coming down. Going down the back of the sheep, there's a goat. The hoof of the goat is my sideburn. And then you use these drops of blood. When you turn it upside down, you use the negative space to make the serpent eating a sheep again. Wow, what's the common denominator? Serpents eating sheep. That's the common denominator. Seed of the serpent, seed of the woman. So let me just show you. I drew in on this image of me. There, I'll just stretch the screen. There you go. There's the dead sheep. There's the eye. There's the nose. There's the tongue. Here's the ear. And then you go down the back. What he used is my hair. There's the goat. So the sheep's dead. There's a sleeping goat. And the hoof of the goat makes my sideburn. Then he made the Mayan Indian or an Aztec Indian right here. There's the eye. There's the nose. There's the front lip. There's the chin. He's wearing this hat. And he made the 3 pyramids like the 3 pyramids of Giza. And then if you turn it upside down and you use those drops I showed you in the negative space, he made the serpent's tail wrapped around my neck. So you have a serpent eating a sheep on me again. Wow, creepy. So we have this common denominator, and here's the Rolling Stones. Has anybody seen my baby? They're on top of a big dead sheep. Okay, so now let me show you the Google Doodle one more time. One more time. Let's watch. Watch this. This is mind-blowing. Okay, now this guy, I want to give props to this guy from Russia. He did a little video, but I'm just going to play the Google Doodle and watch the shadow go across Omar Sharif's face. This is why they used him, because the GOG-Magog war is about to start. Watch the shadow. There you go. There's a serpent. And now the shadow has completed its cycle. There it goes. That's the Google Doodle. There's a serpent, completed the cycle. And this is a spear tip right down here under his neck. Okay, so see, now look, you see the serpent right here with the spear tip? So here's the face, the head of the serpent, and his, tuxedo shirt becomes the tip of the spear. There's no doubt about this. Okay, well, let me show you something very interesting. Okay, by a very bizarre set of circumstances, I was in my car right when my friend called and said, Jonathan, have you seen the Google Doodle? Kat called me up. She's like, have you seen the Google Doodle? I said, yeah, it's Omar Sharif. She goes, did you see the shadow? I go, there's no shadows moving on mine. And she goes, mine moves, just like the one I just showed you. I was like, random, mine doesn't move. And then I wonder if they got some codec on mine so I can't do what I do for you guys. I don't know, but mine doesn't work. So she videotaped it on her phone. She sent me a file. I played it. I'm like, oh, and so while we're having that conversation, while we're in the middle of that conversation, I'm in traffic in my car and I pull up to a red light. There's a car in front of me. Let me show you the car in front of me. Here's the car that was in front of me. That's what was on, this is what was on the car in front of me. That is a pyramid, a triangle with a serpent, and the serpent's head is at the tip of the triangle like a spear tip. While we're talking about the Google Doodle, I was like, that is insane. Well, watch this. I went ahead and I thought, you know what? Yeah. So here is a serpent. Look at this. There's a serpent right here. No doubt about it. There's your serpent. And look what's at the tip of the serpent's nose, a spear tip. So there it is, the tip of the spear. I told you Donald Trump was the tip of the spear, right? Now watch this. Here's the back of that car. I went ahead and turned it upside down. I turned the back of the car upside down. I'm going to rotate this 90 clockwise. I'm going to rotate it 90 clockwise. Let's see. And then I'm going to turn this right side up so you can see it was the back of the car. But then I'm going to turn this one upside down real quick. Let's see. That's weird. It's not responding. There we go. Okay, so I'll go 90 degrees counterclockwise one more time and see if it'll do it. Okay, there it is. So there's the back of the car. See it? See the tail lights? See the... While we're talking about this, while we're talking about this exact image on the phone, I pulled up behind this car right here. So now I'm going to take this one right here, and I'm just going to turn that one upside down real quick. And just, let's do this together. Let's just have a little fun. Okay, there you go. Counterclockwise. Okay, there we go. Now I'll go like this, scrunch them together. I'll hit refresh the page. Hopefully everything should line up where it's supposed to be. It did. Look. Okay, so now I wonder what the odds are that while we're talking about the Google Doodle where there's a serpent on the face of Omar Sharif, that I pull up behind a car that literally is the identical same thing. It's the head of a serpent that's a spear tip. I was like, that's insane. I mean, I was just thinking that is absolutely insane. But wait, this gets a lot better even. I was like, oh my gosh. Remember, it's about Damascus. And Damascus is the flashpoint because they want to get Damascus so they can march into Jerusalem. Okay, well, what did I say this whole thing's about? The whole thing is about what? It's about killing little sheep. It's about serpents eating sheep and killing sheep. I mean, the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards on top of a dead sheep. When you rotate a little bit, it's like a gargoyle vampire. I mean, it's always about serpents and dead sheep. There's the Vatican, serpent skin. There's a serpent bite. Look, serpent bite. It's a sperm. Wow. So the whole thing's always the same thing. Serpent eating a sheep, serpent eating a sheep, serpent eating a sheep, serpent eating the sheep, serpent eating the sheep, serpent eating the sheep, hieroglyph, and then the serpent eating the sheep. That's the largest altar in the world where it's eating a sheep. Okay, no way out of the common denominator. If you don't think that, you're delusional. You've lost your mind. You've lied to yourself and you believed your own lie. because I just proved it. By the way, the word delusional by definition is holding on to an idiosyncratic belief system, even though you've been presented with rational argument to the contrary, and you refuse to let go of an idiosyncratic, erroneous belief. So you've lied to yourself and you believed your own lie. That's what delusion is. Okay, so I just gave you all the evidence to prove to you that there is a consistent common denominator of serpents eating sheep. Okay, well, let's go back to Mr. Omar Sharif. Here he is. Okay, well, now let's go to I told you, Lawrence of Arabia. Okay, here we go. Because this is the reason they did it, because they're going to take Damascus. But I'm going to reduce this in size, and I'm going to take Omar Sharif right here. I'm going to open up folder 15. Here's Omar Sharif, and there's the serpent right on his face. And I'm going to shove this image right up into that video, and there you go. So Omar Sharif is the serpent for the Google Doodle. It's a serpent for the Google Doodle. There it is. So they turn him into the serpent. There it is. Okay, so now I've just given you a visual representation. Omar Sharif, the Google Doodle turned him into a serpent and made him a spear tip. And here he is with this white guy, Peter O'Toole, that's going to attack. Now let me show you something really interesting. The Sword of Islam. Okay, let me show you something. Here's the Sword of Islam. Type it into Google Images. See, look, Sword of Islam. So they pull out the sword and they announce their charge, you know, in the name of Allah. Let's see, they have it right here. I saw Muhammad Ali. I am the noble warrior. I am the sword of Allah. I am Khalid bin al-Wahid, whatever. Okay, so the Sword of Islam right here. So just type it into Google Images. Very interesting that it's got a sword that's got its own mirror reflection. How about that? Okay, well, get ready. Here you go. Watch this. There's Omar Sharif. There's the Google Doodle. We'll shove it in one more time to make the connection. There's your serpent guy from the Google Doodle. And now let's watch this and let's listen very closely. And let's watch very closely. What's it all about? What's the whole thing? My entire ministry. Serpents eating sheep. Serpents eating sheep. Serpents eating sheep. Serpents killing and destroying sheep. Pay attention. This guy was a serpent yesterday.
Orans, not this. Go round. Damascus, Orans. Damascus.
No prisoners.
Orans.
This was Talal's village.
Oh, wow. Time out. That looks like he's drawing out the Sword of Islam, doesn't it? Just wait. Because Omar Sharif is like the king, you know, in the movie. There's the guy next to Peter O'Toole, the older guy. He's like one of the kings, and Omar Sharif's like a prince. And they are the ruling class guys, and I think they're from different tribes, as I recall. Here we go. There's this. So the sword's out. There it is. Here comes the Sword of Islam. There you go. Okay, now I'm pausing it here for a second because I want you to listen. Listen in the background the first time he says no prisoners. You'll hear all these Arab guys going, but you'll also hear meh, meh, like a sheep. I was like, that's a sheep. Then, as soon as they attack, watch what they worked into it. Watch. So don't forget, Omar Sharif, yesterday, they turned him into a serpent. Here is a sword of Islam coming out, which is all about killing sheep. The whole Islamic thing is kill the sheep. Watch.
No prisoners! No prisoners!
Oh, what? What? Oh, those are sheep, guys. Screaming. Those are sheep screaming. No prisoners. This is so cryptic that everybody sees the surface level. Everybody just sees the war. Oh no, World War III. This is about killing God's children. And the war is, one of the ways they're going to do it. They're going to round up all the sheep and they're going to be put to death. Anyone that has truth, anyone that believes in Jesus Christ, anyone that knows the truth. Those of us that have the key of David, our hope is the bride of Christ, and that's what the container stands for. That's why the Lord had me do this incredible work of faith, to believe everything He told me to put in it, everything He told me. It's like, when the Lord had His servants rebuild temples and stuff, He would give them directions on what to do. So, like Nehemiah and stuff like that. He gives His servants directions, and He gave me very specific directions. I'd never thought, not for 1 minute, once that container went in this backyard, that it would be leaving. I never once even thought that. But once it was done, once my dad died, I even had a dream the day my dad died. I woke up from a dream that my dad died, and I called my dad just to check on him. My dad was dead on the floor that morning, and I found him just like in my dream. I went over to his house and I walked in and he was dead on the floor. Then my brother and my sister, because my dad left my house, which my dad used my money that he stole from me. He stole over $300,000 from me. And he used part of that money to buy a house that was $60,000. So that means he still owed me $290,000. And if there was $20,000 that went on to fixing it up, then he still owes me $270,000. And I love my dad, and I didn't want him to have a burden that he had been a thief and he had been a liar and he had done all these things that were morally wrong. And I wanted to let him off the hook because I love my dad. And so I didn't want this house. I told him, no, it's not worth $80,000. I said, if you could get it for 60. So he got the house for 60, and then he put 20 aside. 10,000 was used for the plumbing. So this house was just a mess. So anyway, I never in a million years thought that, first of all, that container would leave. I never in a million years thought my brother and sister would be so amoral that even after I told them, look, guys, Dad stole all the money from my first house, they would be like, I don't care, it's our house. And like, are y'all nuts? I mean, that's insanity. I mean, because he wrote down on a piece of paper, you get John's house, and they think they have some right to it. They do have a legal right according to the law, but morally, they have no moral high ground because that just makes them thieves just like my dad. And if they stick with it, well, then you reap what you sow. So if you don't want to say, you know what, Jonathan, yeah, that was wrong of Dad. We're really sorry you had to go through all that. Just keep your house. It's not ours. We don't have any stake in it. You worked your ass off trying to make a piece of trash into something nice, and we don't have any right to try and take that from you. But that's not their position. They believe because they got a piece of paper from my dad that they own this house. Well, isn't that just like the system we're in? I mean, your body's on rent, guys. Who owns the flesh? Satan owns it. Why do you think Jesus came into the system to repurchase you? The flesh is contrary to the spirit. So Jesus had to come into the system, the Holy Spirit, not the spirit that's at work in the hearts of the children of disobedience, which is everybody. But a new spirit had to come in and repurchase you to get you out of here. Everything makes perfect sense now. That's why they're about to kill all the sheep. Now let's watch the news. Here, let me do this. Let's watch the news. It's not good. Okay, y'all ready? Here we go. Oh, okay, so here's the news. Let's watch what's going on.
Fox News alert now. Tensions with Syria heating up in every way since Forum. The U.S. deploying armed nuclear-powered aircraft carriers.
Armed nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. Look at this. USS Normandy, USS Arleigh Burke, USS Bulkeley, Forrest Sherman, Farragut.
To the Middle East, including the USS Harry Truman, following Assad's alleged chemical
Did you
attack.
notice they threw it? No, I don't know. I just caught this. Also, the USS Harry Truman. Okay. Harry Truman. Also, the USS, they didn't list it up here, but, forgive me for my, my lack of history, understanding, but let me just type this into Google. Who was, so I can't see my screen, President of the U.S. when they bombed. Who was president of the U.S. when they bombed Hiroshima? President Harry Truman warned some of his advisors that any attempt to invade Japan would result in horrific American casualties, ordered that the new weapon be used to bring the war to a speedy end on August. Okay, so yeah, I thought so. I just didn't want to be like that news guy that did the news that I showed you the other day from Ring of Fire that had absolutely no clue what he was even speaking about because he didn't even bother typing into Google anything about Kehinde Wiley and sperm. Okay, so now Harry Truman. Okay, so let's listen to that again real quick. It's not written up there, but I'm sure I heard him just say it.
Every way since Forum. The U.S. deploying armed nuclear-powered aircraft carriers to the Middle East, including the USS Harry Truman.
Including the USS Harry Truman. Wow, that's weird. Okay.
Following Assad's alleged chemical attack on his own people Saturday. Is this the right course of action? Lieutenant General Richard Newton serves as the Assistant Vice Chief of Staff for the U.S. Air Force.
So now we know that we got all this stuff heating up. We know that the Google Doodle was really a serpent that's the tip of a spear. We know that by a bizarre, strange set of circumstances that I didn't get the normal Google Doodle that turns into a serpent and the tip of a spear. What's even more odd is that when my friend Kat called me to ask me, did you see the Google Doodle? I was pulling up behind a car that actually had a serpent on it right here. Let's rotate that. Let's rotate that back its correct direction. There we go. I pulled up right behind this car and it had a serpent that's a spear tip, which is absolutely identical to the Google Doodle. Now let's see. And let me refresh so I can just drag my image down for you. But stay tuned because I want to show you a really weird handshake. Remember, everything's the right side up, upside down paradigm. That is the prison. That's your prison. Right side up, upside down. The way to get out of the prison is turn the key and be made whole. That's how you get out. Let me show you something. Okay, so here we go. So there is the back of that car that's got a serpent head as a spear tip, which is exactly what the Google Doodle is at the very moment cat was talking to me about it. That's kind of weird. I mean, the odds of that, impossible. But let me show you something really interesting. Y'all know about Donald Trump's coat of arms, don't you? There's Donald Trump's coat of arms right here. And I'm going to, show you some stuff. But what does Donald Trump have on his coat of arms? The double-headed phoenix. The double-headed phoenix, which is the right side up, upside down paradigm. That's the whole thing I've been showing you. That's 100% nylon. Turn it upside down. 100% no line. Turn the word nylon upside down. I was like, 100%. Turn the word nylon upside down. No line. Okay, so let's take, here's the flag of Russia. It happens to be a double-headed phoenix with that crown on top. Let's slide it right up onto Donald Trump's coat of arms. Wow, that's wild. It's identical, isn't it? Bump, 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 bump. There it is. So on Donald Trump's coat of arms is the double-headed phoenix, which is identical to the Russian flag. There it is. Okay, so now watch this. I showed you Donald Trump's coat of arms. Just depends on how you view it. It's like all this stuff I show you. There's a dragon. There's the eye of the dragon. There's the nose of the dragon. There's the front tooth. There's the other tooth. There's the open bottom jaw of the dragon. Okay, let me show you a really weird handshake. Now, people that try and go for, oh, Jonathan Kleck, did you see his reptile eyes? Oh my God, he's a reptile. There, you're all reptiles. It's like, duh. It's like everybody's got your serpent seed going. That's why you're here. You got to get converted. You got to be born of the Spirit. You're in serpent flesh. I showed you the Targum. And he cast Adam and Eve from him, and upon the skin of their flesh, he clothed them with the flesh of the serpent. Yep. And cast away that adornment which they once had. And they were clothed with the skin of the serpent. That's why the whole Vatican's a big serpent. And it's pregnant. And that's why the whole basilica is a bunch of black bricks that look like serpent skin. Okay, so now, let me show you now, again, I don't like people saying, oh, look, he made the 666, or, everybody gets all weird. I mean, the trolls and the people that do these, exposed videos. They're the ones that are exposing themselves. But here you go. Look at this handshake. Look at that look. Look at what it takes to get your hand that flat. Look at that. That's right side up and upside down. This guy's got the double-headed phoenix on his logo, on his coat of arms. This guy's got the double-headed phoenix on his flag. Double-headed phoenix, double-headed phoenix. Right side up, upside down. I find that really bizarro. But you want to see something I find even more bizarro? Watch this. This is even more bizarre. Donald Trump has a dragon on his coat of arms. Look at that. There's a dragon. Here's the locust in blue. And the locust is identical, and I do mean identical, to my artwork, which is, don't even know what to do with that. That's so crazy. That's just so mind-blowing that I just don't even want to it's just mind-blowing. But there's the locust, there's the dragon. Let me show you what's really in the center of that double-headed phoenix right there. If I scoot this over and I stretch this out, you'll see a guy right here on a horse, on this white horse, right? See him right here? And what's that guy doing? Well, let me show you what he's doing. That's the Moscow City coat of arms, which is in the middle. And look what he's doing. He's got a spear, and it's going in the mouth of a dragon that's upside down. See how the dragon's face is like that? One's right side up, one's upside down. But look at the spear tip going into the mouth of the dragon right here. Do you find it odd that both Putin and Trump both have the double-headed phoenix? Because the double-headed phoenix is ruled over by, no matter what anybody says on planet Earth, I love you in Christ, but here's the thing. You're delusional if you don't say that's a serpent right there. That's a serpent, and it's a crown. So what rules over the double-headed phoenix? The serpent does. And I've proven that repetitively. It's not even arguable anymore. So no one can argue with it. So the serpent rules over the double-headed phoenix. So isn't it odd that both Trump and Russia have the double-headed phoenix? And what's really odd is that in the center of this double-headed phoenix is a guy stabbing a dragon in the mouth, and that Trump has a dragon on his coat of arms. I mean, it is just bizarro. It's just so crazy. Now watch that. Okay, so let me show you Germany and a bunch of Der Spiegel magazine covers with Donald Trump. Let me show you what the rest of the world is doing. Let's see. So there's Donald Trump with a knife cutting off the head of the Statue of Liberty. Here's Donald Trump hitting a golf ball that's the world catching on fire. Here's Donald Trump that's a meteor coming to destroy the earth. Here's Donald Trump that's like the KKK. See, because he's got the black suit and the red tie. So, this is, and it's a spear tip. Wow, look at Donald Trump right here in Der Spiegel. They made the tidal wave Donald Trump coming over, the whole Washington thing. I mean, don't you find it kind of weird that these other countries are doing the same propaganda nonsense? But the thing is, they're getting everybody ready. I mean, look at that. That's a tidal wave. That's Donald Trump. That's Donald Trump cutting off the head of the Statue of Liberty. I mean, guys, I mean, this is just some serious cray-cray going on here. So, when you look at all this stuff together and you look at the cumulative sum of all this, I mean, can you really not know where you're at? The rest of the world, remember when Obama was around and everybody was like, Obama, yay, Obama, Obama. In other countries, they're marching to get Obama back. I've seen marches in other countries, Australia, Europe, other countries where they're like, we want Obama, 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 bring Obama back. He's coming back. And this guy, Donald Trump, he's all part of the whole deal, guys. So those that put their trust in Donald Trump to save everything, guys, it's time to wake up and smell the toast burning, because the toaster's on fire right now. There you go. So anyway, that's why Omar Sharif in the Google Doodle was a serpent, because that sort of Islam that came out, where they attacked right here. Let's just watch it. Damascus, Lawrence, Damascus. I'll just play the whole thing through. Listen for the sheep.
Or else, not this. Go round Damascus, Orange. Damascus.
No prisoners.
Orange.
This was Talal's village.
No prisoners! No prisoners!
Meh. Meh.
God. God.
All right, and the whole thing just becomes a giant slaughter. So, Omar Sharif was turned into a serpent. Sword of Islam comes out. No prisoners. Go get them. Let me show you something else about that Google Doodle that this Russian guy spotted. Watch this. What does this spell if you don't use Omar Sharif and the serpent? GOG. L-E-L. L is the name of God, by the way. El Elyon. El Gog. G-O-G. G-O-G. Gog. That's pretty odd. So, I would venture to say that we are more than likely at the flashpoint. And today I'm going to load up the video with the container arriving at the corner of Rainbow and Covenant of Peace, Proclamation of Peace. I'm going to show you Isaiah 54, and I'm going to show you what the work of faith the Lord had me do is, because the night I got saved, He gave me the key of David to give to you as a gift, and I've given it to you now. It's been proven. All right, guys, we're getting close. Put all your faith, all your trust in the Lord God. I would ask just a favor of everybody. Pray for my brother and my sister. Pray for their families. I don't want anything bad to happen to them. Keep them in your prayers, please.